I got kicked out of high school.
I've been trying to go to college, and I don't have any money for that.
I wasn't doing really good in high school.
I was living on the street before I came here, just getting, wasted all the time.
I was a loser, and I lived with my boyfriend. I had nowhere else to go.
I got out of high school, and my life pretty much came to a halt for 4 years. I wasn't doing anything.
I started being agitated early in life, I guess by family, friends, school, and it just put a big chip on my shoulder. I thought I had to fight. A lot of times people don't understand what's going on inside of a young man. You achieve something, and there's always someone telling you you didn't do well enough. In the 1968 Olympic Games, for instance, I got a gold medal. I was so happy. I came back home. They show off my medal everywhere I went. And people would say, George, how could you wave that flag? How could you do that? I was literally rescued from the gutter by way of the United States government. Lyndon Johnson started an anti-poverty program. It really rescued me, gave me a chance to get an education, even taught me how to box and gave me 3 meals. So I became more than patriotic. I started to love the country, really.
You got involved with the Job Corps. At the time that you did, you were an angry young man. You dropped out of school. You had problems with alcohol. You had problems with theft. You were fighting. You were stealing. What do you figure would have become of your life but for the Job Corps?
I'd mugged a guy, crawled in the house one night trying to get away from the police. And I remember trying to cover myself from head to toe with mud so the dogs wouldn't sniff me out. And for the first time, I realized I was a criminal. Jimmy Brown did a commercial, said, if you're looking for a second chance, join the Job Corps. Changed my whole life.
You've been a convict, isn't it?
I've been behind bars, no doubt about it.
We've had the Job Corps now for 40 years, and it's been 40 good years, and there's been a lot of changes in the program over that 40-year period. But I really hope that at the end of the next 40 years, that we're able to look back on the second 40 and be as proud of the accomplishments that we've made in the Job Corps program as we were in the first 40.
Of the hundreds of thousands of high school students that drop out of school each year, many get a second chance at Job Corps Civilian Conservation Centers. Job Corps is the nation's largest residential, education, and training program for low-income youth. It is a time-tested program, touching the lives of some 66,000 young people each year. Since its inception in 1964 by then-President Lyndon B. Johnson, Job Corps has guided more than 2 million young people away from lives filled with poverty and unemployment, crime and welfare, and steered them towards brighter futures filled with self-confidence, independence, and productive employment.
Actually, I learned how to be a better person, living around people that I don't know, and I learned how to be independent, coming miles and miles away from home. I just learned a lot. I'm speechless. Job Corps is really, it's worth it.
He's been homesick. I call him a 25-year-old baby. But we're so proud of him that he accomplished this.
He had begun to kind of lose out on his focus and kind of touring the other way, but now he's focused. I think he's going to be all right.
That's one of the greatest pleasures of this job is when you can actually change some of these young men and young women to where you see their attitude go from negative to a positive. And in reality, when they graduate all the way through the program, you see them successfully go on to jobs and do very well. I mean, that's the benefits of working in this program.
There are 122 Job Corps centers located across the United States and Puerto Rico. Administered by the U.S. Department of Labor, Job Corps is known as one of the original public-private partnerships. While the program is 100% federally funded, a majority of the centers are operated by private companies. 28 centers, known as Civilian Conservation Centers, or CCCs, are located on federal lands and are operated through interagency agreements by the Department of Agriculture's National Forest Service and the Department of Interior. These former civilian conservation centers are located in some of the most remote and scenic areas in the country.
And it's almost a therapeutic center. It's therapeutic for staff to be able to work in an environment like this, and we feel it's therapeutic for students. They get to be away from the hustle and bustle of the city and some of the distractions of the city. They get to train out here, but we also provide training in the cities and realistic training that is going to allow them to work in the city too. So they get the best of both. But the environment is just so peaceful that it really is therapeutic for students.
For the past 40 years, Forest Service Job Corps Centers has provided these young people with the academic, vocational, and social training they need for a good entry-level job, military enlistment, or college enrollment. Students attain a high school diploma or GED, receive free meals, health care, career counseling, and job placement assistance, all while living in comfortable quarters.
When you go into our dormitories, the way the dorms are created, the big hearts in the center of the dorms, the glass block, the beautiful comforters, the beautiful wallpaper, it's just really a relaxing mode. It's not like a college dorm or any type of setting dorm like that. It's more like a home.
I think when you live in a nice environment, you want to take care of it. I think it adds to the pride. I think it adds to the comfort. I think students feel safe in that dormitory setting. You know, if you live in a nice place, it adds to the way you feel about yourself and what you're doing with your life.
I've grown up here. Like before, I didn't think about the future. I didn't think I had a future. You know, I was a bad kid. So now I know I have a future. I know what I can do and I know what my capabilities are.
One of our training is how to do an interview, and they taught us pretty good, like what to say, the no's, the don'ts, how to dress, and I think I'm ready.
The reason why I hired these people, the young people, that I was once in their shoes, graduating out of Job Corps, just waiting on that one big paying job, you know, and I know how it made me feel when I first got my first job. So when I look at them and see them and talk with them, they ready to go to work.
Yeah, they make me feel good, proud knowing that another Job Corps student helping other Job Corps students get a good job in their field. I thought that I would be doing mostly housing, interior, exterior paint, but I never thought that I would be at the Presidential Library in Little Rock doing on a commercial site.
Students learn from experienced instructors the skills needed to be successful in a large number of occupations. Licensed union craftsmen instruct with hands-on training in career fields like welding, carpentry, masonry, heavy equipment mechanics and operation, plumbing, automotive repair, and more.
We're the only one on the West Coast. There's 5 or 6 dispensing optician programs with Job Corps, and we teach the students here to go out and seek jobs at optical sites such as lens crafters or Banyans, also private labs, wholesale labs, private doctors' offices, sunglass huts, anything that has to do with the optical industry.
I see how my father worked carbon metal or something like that. I'll never do that. When I come to Job Corps, I teach more for welding. Work welding is really cool, fun. It's not a hard job. It's good.
I did the robotics. I used the Animation 3D Max. I learned that basically because I want to use it in my trade, my career choice, cement masonry. I'm gonna learn that program, and then I'm gonna use it towards an architectural and engineering kind of job wise. So I could, instead of drawing out blueprints, I could use it to have 3D images of what I want my image to look like, I guess.
Just watching that robot come to life without any human control for 15 seconds doing what I wanted it to do. It's kind of like, you know, if you can do this with a little machine, imagine what you can do with pretty much the world. You know, you got everything in your hands at the touch of a keyboard. So
the problem we ran into was that it was so hard to shut them down. If it was 2 in the morning, that was not an issue. They didn't want to go to bed. They wanted to keep working on the robot. And the only problem is old people like myself, we want to get to bed.
I think the things that Job Corps has done for the Forest Service, or things the Forest Service has done for Job Corps that I'm most proud of, are the relationships that Job Corps has developed in the way that they've helped many of our communities that we deal with in the Forest Service. Job Corps program has helped communities with community projects, buildings, trails, recreation opportunities. They work very closely with the communities, where the communities feel like the Job Corps is an extremely important part, and the communities value the Job Corps just like the Forest Service values the Job Corps.
Our partnership with the LBJ Job Corps enabled us to create a top-notch quality child care facility. We never would have been able to afford this facility on our own, but with the labor partnership with the Job Corps, we were able to create New Horizons 1. We have a national accreditation there. We serve 90 low-income children, and we provide one of the top-notch facilities in this county through our partnership.
Well, the benefit to the Franklin Chamber has just been immeasurable. We love the building here. It's been here since the mid-70s. The LBJ Job Corps at that time did a fantastic job on the building. As most people know, or as you can see, we have kind of outgrown our space here, and we hope that the Job Corps can build us a new building one day soon.
We've had several projects that you all have seen today that we've done to help both the community and the forest over the last 40 years. And we're very proud that the center was named after Lyndon Baines Johnson, which was the leader of the Job Corps program, as well as the president that established this in 1964.
We had a major renovation of our stadium facilities, and the center, the students, the staff came over and helped us in terms of the grandstands and bleacher renovation. And most recently, they came over and constructed a ticket booth for the college. It's a very well done project.
From the young at the ball fields, the signage there, the brickwork was done by the corpsmen. The young kids in our community get to see that every time they go to the ball fields, to the senior citizen center that's appreciated and used by our elderly. So it encompasses a full range of age groups and very well appreciated.
Oh, I feel pretty good about it because, for one, when I go out there, you have a positive attitude. You represent Job Corps. They call back and they call, Clyde Franklin, and they tell them, hey, you guys got some good students. You guys teach your students well, and they do some quality good work out there.
I'd like to think that we up and around the hundreds of thousands of dollars as far as what we've donated to the community, and we feel like it's a win-win for both. And the fact that our students receive training outside of the shop, that they're being trained in here, but they go out into the community and they receive training in their field there, and it also allows the community to see our students and get to know our students.
Well, the Colburn Job Corps has been coming out for several years and helping us realize this great project. They've helped us with concrete work in the Children's Secret Garden. They built the foundation and the moat for the castle. They also have done the river walk behind the greenhouse and between the sensory and native gardens. They've also helped us with the fencing that is around the perimeter of the property, which protects us, when we're closed. We'd like to have everything closed in, and they have just been a great bunch of people to work with. They're very professional and respectful, and they do a fantastic job, and we could not have done it without them.
We have a 4-day festival, and we have approximately 100,000 people come through our gates over the 4 days. And Job Corps is a major part of this because they are essentially making sure those who are not allowed to come in aren't allowed in. And then they escort people around and show people a good time and help them out in understanding what Country Jam is about. And we receive tremendous amount of compliments about these students and how hard they work and how respectful and nice they are. And Country Jam is a major event. In the Western Slope, there's nothing even remotely close to this. And we're very excited to have them involved with us again and hope many years to come.
People see our students in a different light. They see them doing security, they see them helping. And also, one of the biggest benefits is we work with the Sheriff's Office directly. And it gives these students a chance to see the Sheriff's Office in a different light. And it also sees that they see us in a different light. And I'll tell you what, the sheriff's office has nothing but praise with us. So we work as a partner there doing that stuff, but also the people who see how professional our students are. Some of our students get hired from that, just watching them. Some of them have had letters written about them in the local community newspaper. They didn't know it was coming out. So it shows, again, it showcases the students. They get to see what benefit that's being done in this community from these students.
O'Connell Lefty is one of two centers that's located in a national park. And it also happens to be a mile and a half off of the Cherokee Indian Reservation. And working with the park and with the Native Americans has been a real experience for me and my students.
Of course, we've been a partner with the Job Corps for approximately 40 years at this point, and of course, support the training programs that occur there. The folks at Job Corps have actually done a lot of projects here on the boundary. If you go just down the road here to the O'Connell Lefty Island project, several of the pavilions were actually constructed by the Job Corps staff. So we've had a long relationship with the staff and have appreciated their being in the area.
United Blood Services has actually been around since 1943, and Job Corps came on the scene a few years back, and we have teamed up with them in an effort to supply blood to our 3 major hospitals here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And they have done an outstanding job donating literally hundreds of units of blood over the years.
Well, I think giving blood is essential because you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping, the people in the community and the people that got diseases, and, the soldiers that's in the wreck, and also our own staff member, TJ Panique, who, we can help him out, and his soldiers that are fighting the war that will help us.
With its well-defined infrastructure, Job Corps can mobilize volunteers from tens of thousands of students and staffers for a particular project. To date, the Job Corps program has contributed over $1.5 billion of new construction and improvement projects to communities and natural resources across the country.
People go out and utilize these facilities that are on the national forest, but in many cases they don't realize that they were constructed by the Job Corps students. And that's kind of a testament that the Job Corps is doing an excellent job of training, that they bring these kids in and are able to train them so that there's no difference between doing the work under contract and doing it with the Job Corps students.
Like our building here, they built our building in '86, and about every 3 years they restain the building for us. They'll do painting. About every other year I'll have some concrete work somewhere.
Well, one of the roles that we have on the Ouachita National Forest is actively managing that 1.8 million acres. And we do that through a number of means, through timber harvesting, through replanting after we harvest, maintaining campgrounds and so forth, and also fighting fires. And one of the things that the Job Corps Center's done for us is they provided trained crews that we use not only to suppress wildfires, but to do prescribed burning for us as well.
Oh, it was tough, real hard. I mean, you gotta be physically fit to go out on fires out west. It was awesome. I enjoyed it, every minute of it. I plan on making a career out of this.
What we're doing here is to help preserve natural resources here in the forest, and for people to enjoy the forest more and all the natural resources. And I'm glad to be part of it, and I love doing it.
I always tell everybody that if you really want to get the gist of a fire team on a site, my students are used to me going down, watching them leave. And the reason why I go out and watch them leave, because it's amazing when they leave. Sometimes they leave with little boys and little girls, but I have yet to see a team come back in. It wasn't all men and women on the team once they returned to the center. So I get a lot of energy on watching them leave as well as watching them return, because I usually get a different student that left return. They're usually a man or woman that returns back to the site.
The Job Corps program is probably the most diverse program that the Forest Service has, and of course that also helps us overall to appreciate and value diversity, value what people have to offer, what people can contribute and bring to the table. And then it also allows us an opportunity from a recruitment standpoint to to help diversify other parts of the organization?
Yeah, it was a big change for me because, come here to the United States and learn a new language, that was hard for me though.
Until right now, I'm doing good, and I complete my trade is welding, so I'm happy to complete.
The courage that they have coming to Job Corps to learn a new language, to learn a new culture, and to get a GED or high school diploma in another language is just amazing. They constantly amaze me.
And they helped me in language, and they helped me to study every night. They took their own time to help me, and it was, they were like my second parents over here.
It has been a non-traditional approach. I think in the old days that it was viewed that men were best able to run a center, but now women have been given the opportunity, and actually we're doing quite well.
They tell me a lot, you just like my auntie. I feel like you just, you look like my auntie. They just get that feeling when they see me, and they automatically know that this is not a place of some type of institution where they're coming to get this person who's in charge, going to make them do this. When they see me, they just like smile, like, yeah, she's all right.
What has been my success hold is to just deal with the students here just like I would if I was raising a big 240 children family, and that works real well for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present the Hall of Fame nominees for this year for Job Corps for the National Hall of Fame. These people have come many miles and have come through a long and trying process to get here, and they've done it as very productive citizens, and we're very proud to announce them at this time.
My career started with the Forest Service in 1966, right out of Job Corps as a student. I left the Forest Service a couple times for personal reasons, but not because of the organization. The organization has mentored a lot of folks who was former students and employees of Job Corps, and other folks have come through Job Corps, started at Job Corps, went on through the natural resources and obtained some very high positions. So as a Forest Service operating the Job Corps Center, I think that's one of the assets of Job Corps, that we're out here on national forest land. Even though we have very little to do with natural resources, we are available when they need us to do firefighting and other functions, and we consider that part of our responsibility. But our relationship with those natural resource planners out there, it's very good, and I'm proud to be a member of the Forest Service organization.
What I learned was self-respect. What I learned was how to deal with conflict in a positive manner. And I learned that through all of the people who work in the Job Corps program who took the time to explain to me why my behavior was inappropriate and how I could handle conflict and crisis in a different manner. Self-discipline. I just learned from the program lots of things. I learned how to be a good woman and what that means. And those kinds of skills that I learned in the program are the most important to me because I feel like I can give those back to my children and then to the youth that I work with at the Clearfield Job Corps Center. So I value the education and the training part of it, but the other, just the other values and the things that I learned in the program are priceless. Those are things that I couldn't have gotten anywhere else. I believe that.
I had a great experience in Job Corps. I think that the fact that it was a small Job Corps center, the Forest Service, Jacobs Creek, it was such a small center that people was able to pay more attention to individual needs, and I think that was a plus for me because I got real good service from there. Well, it's just a long track. After leaving Job Corps, I think the one thing that Job Corps did for me was put me in the right place at the right time, and this happened several times in my life, and I blame them for that. I started out as, I think they gave me the skills first to actually be good at the trade that they taught me, which was heavy equipment operation. And I became what you call a finish operator. I did the fine touches of roads and stuff, that we built things. And I was the person that was brought in to do the most touchy parts of those type roads. And then I became a foreman. And I kept elevated until I became a superintendent for a major company. In fact, I was the first black superintendent for the largest road building firm in the United States. And I think that because I think with so many people being kind to me at Job Corps, it sort of was a seed that was planted. And I think I just sort of kept planting those seeds myself to people as I met them.
When talking about Job Corps, it's like talking about family, people who invested in you and cared about you enough to, take time and show a lot of love. And that's what if you take the time, show some love, and you can teach a kid anything.
These 3 principles were found in this little diary. And because my life did a 180-degree turn, I dedicated it to teaching people a process that helped me get through a storm in my life. To me, whenever I speak to them on a Job Corps center, there's still a reverence for that position. I can't explain it. I'll go into a Fortune 500 company and I'll speak with boldness, I'll speak with authority, and I'll say, this is missing. And when I come onto a Job Corps center, I back off of that approach and I look them in the eyes and I say thank you. Thanks for doing what you do for people like myself and millions of others, and for our communities and our families, and in the ripple effect. They'll never ever see the full extent of one life that Job Corps helps. But I tell you what, for me and my posterity, and I got 3 beautiful kids, this program helped the country become stronger.
I explained to my students where I started, and I started from a student the same as they are, and worked myself up to center director. And many of them can't believe that, but I tell them all the time, you can do anything you want to do. And as an example of myself, I use myself as an example in many instances with many students to show them that you can do anything that you want to do if you set your mind to it. And it's really been wonderful, and I enjoy working with the students, and hopefully that Job Corps is around another 40 years, whether I'm here another 40 years or not, but I hope to be around, but may not be working with the students at that period of time. But I really have enjoyed it, and want to wish everyone a happy 40th anniversary.
I guess I was just like any young person growing up. I mean, most young men would like to be a doctor, a fireman, a policeman, and I had that urge to go into law enforcement. And with the agency, the U.S. Forest Service, I was able to switch over into a law enforcement program a little over 10 years ago. Went to my training, did the basic law enforcement training, police academy, and from there worked as a patrol officer for about 1.5 years, and then a criminal investigator, and later into the supervisory realm, where I was the special agent in charge for our largest region in the country, and now the deputy director for law enforcement and investigations. And it's just been a wonderful career for me.
Job Corps can do a lot for you, but you got to give it 100%. I tell the students that if they give themselves to the program, no less than 100%, the Job Corps will have a positive impact for the rest of their lives. I said, I'm living proof of that. Job Corps is still having a positive impact on my life. And so I tell the students, hey, I'm here. I have open door policies. Come to me when you have issues. I'll bend over backwards, but most important, you need to do your part. If you do your part, I'll do everything I can to help you. After I tell them my story and how I got involved in the Job Corps program as a staff and as a student, they tend to, we kind of form a rapport there, a good rapport. they tend to open up, which is very helpful. Then I can, reach them, because a lot of students, they don't trust you. They don't open up. They got to gain your trust, and I believe by me being a former student, I gained the trust of many students.
Job Corps staff, Job Corps instructors, Job Corps counselors, and administrators, their interest in you is genuine. It's on a one-to-one basis. And I can say that just seeing that kind of relationship and that kind of exposure to people who really cared about me inspired me even further to say, well, I wanted to do this for other reasons, but with the faith that they have showed in me, with the care that they have shown about me, and I'm talking about real dedication, people who would go out of their way, and especially when I was thinking about higher education, traveling from Job Corps Center to Eugene, Oregon, to look at universities and those kinds of things, I said, well, there's a greater reason for me to do this, and that's the people who have helped me get things done here in Job Corps and that are hoping that I will succeed in the future and are part of my life now.
Job Corps gives people a second chance. Because of my interest in education, I was nicknamed the professor when I was in Job Corps because I was one of the few people who was pretty literate and could write letters home for the guys and stuff like that. So I was nicknamed the professor, and I had a chance to take leadership courses at Job Corps. Job Corps recognized my leadership potential. At that time, this was like 35 years ago, I was made the major. I was the major of our dorm area in leadership. And Job Corps makes you competitive too. It makes you competitive. When I got out and started Oregon State University in 1970 when I was 17, I felt I was as good as anybody and maybe even better. Job Corps, one thing I really appreciate about them is that they take what I call throwaway students. They take students who have been bent by the system, but they haven't been broken. Their will hasn't been broken yet, and they're still competitive. That's why I'm interested in hiring people that have had the Job Corps experience, because we need more non-traditional people like myself in areas of leadership to show that there's always a different way to solve a problem, that there's always a different side to it. So I enjoy talking to Job Corps graduations, commencements. I get invited to maybe 4 or 5 of them a year, and I love to talk to those students because I can see myself in them 35 years ago about what it's like when you give people a second chance.
There's an awful lot of people over the 40-year history of the Job Corps program that have really contributed, that have made this program successful. And there's a lot of enrollees that have worked very, very hard to accomplish the things that they've accomplished. And I'd just like to congratulate those people, the people who've worked so hard to make this program what it is today. And you ought to be celebrating this 40th anniversary and be very proud. So congratulations to everyone who's had a part in the Job Corps program.